Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I am going to be taking a look at the article at the back of the Conan the Barbarian comic number one. These are the new comic books from Titan Comics. Just recently, Jeffrey Shanks actually popped in and made a comment on my coverage of Conan the Barbarian number two, and said, that he actually addressed one of the questions that I had about the character, the Pictish female warrior that was in Brissa, is her name, that was in these new Conan series of stories. And he says, I actually addressed that in the article. And I have to admit, I was completely remiss in not reading the articles at the end of the comics. I was just focusing on reading the comics themselves. And and these articles are extremely deserving of time on my channel, and so I apologize for that oversight, and I am going to get right on to taking a look at the first article by Jeffrey Shanks. Now, if you're not familiar with Jeffrey Shanks has been connected to retelling the history of Robert E. Howard, and some of his his characters, or probably even all of his characters over the years. And he was associated with Modiphius. He was one of the expert contributors for making sure that Modiphius's Conan Adventures in an Age Undreamed of stayed true to Robert E. Howard's vision and depiction of Conan the Barbarian. And he runs Robert E. Howard Days, which is a convention at the Robert E. Howard Museum in Cross Plains, Texas, and he did an archaeological dig at the site, going into the bowels of Robert E. Howard's root shed, and searching for any artifacts that might have been buried there. That was a Kickstarter and a whole thing that I had backed back then as well. Unfortunately, I don't have my T-shirt from it available, but he was the editor or the co-editor of a number of journals talking about Robert E. Howard and his writings, as well as guest authors writing short stories, either based on Robert E. Howard's stories, or extending some of them as well, or just in the genre and tone of Robert E. Howard stories. So I'll actually do some videos on those booklets as well, or it's been quite a long time since I have. And so I'll probably revisit those for the channel. So, so Jeffrey, thanks for pointing out to me that I had been missing some of these, some of these details and these articles in there. And without further ado, I am going to jump right into the article itself. So I'm going to jump to full screen here first and show you. So this is issue number one. This is the New York ComicCon exclusive cover. And the article that I am going to be reading to you is right there. On the other side, they have a new section called Chainmail, where they cover, or where they're presenting some fan questions, and I'm assuming the answers will go to those as well. So yes, so I'm going to jump right into this and just read it to you straight up. So here we go. And so I just did a quick screenshot and saved it in saved it on Paint so I can read this off to you and you can see it very clearly as well. So, part one. When most people think of Robert E. Howard's world building, the Hyborian Age of Conan is the first thing that comes to mind. But that's only one part of a larger shared universe Howard developed over his career. Shared universes are taken for granted today, but they were a novel idea when Howard was writing. Howard's shared universe began almost from the start of his career. In a 1926 story, a Pictish shaman tells the history of four races of man: the Picts, the Atlanteans, the Lemurians, and the Celts. From the dawn of history up to Roman Empire, after that much of Howard's fictions, including the Conan stories, can be seen as a tale of these four races through time as they rise and fall, evolve, devolve, fighting and breeding, and always struggling to survive in a brutal world. In the Iborian Age, the Hyrcanians are the descendants of the Lemurians, the Cimmerians are the descendants of the Atlanteans, and the Picts are, well, the Picts. It's this last group with whom Howard was most enamored, which is really surprising because you would think that the Cimmerians were, but let's see how Jeffrey qualifies this. In his fictional timeline, they were the first race and ever present in his yarns. The proud Pictish warrior, Brule the Spear Slayer, fought alongside Kull in the antediluvian times. In Roman times, Bran MacMorn, last of the great line of Pictish kings, fought a doomed war to save his people. In between, Conan fought the Hyborian Age Picts, who had been reduced to savagery by the Great Cataclysm. However, in Howard's fiction, there was always a continuity, whether it was explicit or implied, and as we'll see in these news stories, Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics are ready to shed some new sunlight on that shared universe across borders and ages. So, very short article, and one I think that is really important because it is laying out there for you the context that that Robert E. Howard wrote his stories and how interconnected they are, even if it's about different characters in different time periods. And that is something that Robert E. Howard really had a a writing style that just laid itself into that concept of this. Every character is kind of a reflection of the character from the past, and that character, at some point, becomes aware of where they're heading in the future, and as they're going through their lives, they are oftentimes seeing these visions and seeing, having these dreams of times long past where characters very similar to themselves had similar struggles. And you see these dreamings in his writing, like Conan has them of Kull, Solomon Kane has them of Conan, and Bran MacMorn has them of Kull as well, and sees his connections to these other great lineage of barbarous kings. That kind of they all have that connection to the savagery and and the barbarism. And Robert E. Howard, um, Robert E. Howard kind of he built all of his characters to have that very honorable and the noble savage concept built into them, but in a very very positive way. Um, so not the white man's view, as it's oftentimes portrayed by historians, where they're all these noble savages as a way to degrade them. Um, Robert E. Howard's writings a um, an exception, where they look at the barbarous society as being better uh, than modern society or civilization. That civilization is a decline of the human spirit. It's a decline of the human sense of honor, and that's why his characters are so very honorable. They have a code that they live by, and they're very they're very pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and don't expect um, don't expect anyone to really give you a hand. Certainly don't expect the gods to give you a hand. And and so they kind of have that rugged individualism. um, and Robert E. Howard being a born and raised Texan, and during the early 1900s, I'm sure that many of these characters are inspired by his own experiences and his own life and such as well. So oh, really really important to read these articles, to get them in the proper context, and to understand the stories in the proper context. So as I am covering each of the comic books and going through the comic books, moving forward, I will then do a separate video talking about the articles, and seeing how Jeffrey Shanks explains what we read in the comic, as it relates to Robert E. Howard's vision of his ages undreamed of. So thank you to Jeffrey Shanks for coming in here and gracing my channel, and and pointing the error of my of my oversight there. I really do appreciate it, and I'm glad that my channel has found itself into your awareness, and I am going to continue covering these, as I said, along with the rest of the comics, which I'm really enjoying. I read number 3. I'm about to read number 4, and then I will be coming out with a video for number 3. The article for number 2, I'm kind of be a little bit backlogged on that, and so forth. But eventually, I'll get caught up to, being on the ready for all of them at one time. That will probably be next month or so, when I pick up the next 3 comics in the series. So thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and subscribe. Comment in the comments section. As always, I so much appreciate the comments coming into the channel, because it really does drive me in what direction I need to go with the channel, so that I can make sure I'm giving you content that you're really looking to to watch and hear about. And as always, enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's actually a gorgeous weekend here in New York. So, and keep on gaming. Pick up these comic books. These Conan the Barbarian comics from Titan Comics are absolutely a breath of fresh air. And I'm encouraged even more so that someone like Jeffrey Shanks is associated with them and writing the articles and the backs of these comics as well. It's an even bigger plus, I think, for following along with them. As always, thanks for stopping in, and I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen sometime soon. Maybe we will bump elbows in a comic shop when I'm picking up the next three copies of Conan the Barbarian, and hopefully I will run into you at a gaming convention sometime soon as well, to either play in your game or just to chat at a vending table, or perhaps you'll be playing in one of my games. So I have several conventions coming up. One in January, that is Philadelphia Game Expo. And then the next one after that is Rising Phoenix Game Con in Massachusetts in April, where I'm running several games. And beyond that, probably be the next one that I'm really planning on is ShireCon next October. So looking forward to all the upcoming conventions and such. So, as always, have a great day. Take care.